245 mayors from across the United States just did something completely unexpected, and hardly anyone knows about it. Republicans and Democrats representing 41 states signed an agreement to treat their opponents with decency and humanity, and use restraint on social media. It's a pretty big deal considering our current political climate. So how did this happen?
I'm David Holt. I'm the mayor of Oklahoma City. I've held this position since 2018. I'm also president of the United States Conference of Mayors.
Days after Charlie Kirk's murder, Mayor Holt wanted to do something meaningful about political violence. Now, Mayor Holt is from Oklahoma City, remember, the site of the deadliest act of domestic political violence in living memory. The 1995 Oklahoma City bombing killed 168 Americans. So he understands how political violence can devastate a community. So when he sat down to write, the words came easily.
We believe that dehumanization is the rhetorical device that has paved the way to the worst atrocities in human history. We have each affirmed today that we believe, and I quote, that political violence in any form is unacceptable and should be met with the harshest condemnation and penalties. We will refrain from referring to those Americans with whom we disagree as enemies or as evil, and we believe that not every thought has to be expressed out loud, especially on social media. We will use social media responsibly and with restraint. And finally, we believe that we are humans first, Americans second, and partisans last.
Those very practical behaviors, if they would model those behaviors, and if everybody did it overnight, American politics would change overnight, and into a much different thing.
He sent the declaration to mayors across the country, including Kansas City, Missouri Mayor Quinton, who's a Democrat, but also a friend of his.
I remember reading it. And, I think when you start reading anything that can sound grandiose, you start with some inherent skepticism, right? You want to say, all right, what's different, right? Am I doing something unique? And then I read it. So it isn't just that we denounce bad things, but I read it to suggest we should think of ways to do and be better.
The next day, 50 mayors, including Lucas, signed the declaration at the Oklahoma City Bombing Memorial and Museum.
I think you get beat up a lot, especially in politics, like you're weak or something, if you're not constantly screaming at everybody, and actually, I think that type of behavior is the greatest sign of weakness, right? I think that's how insecure people act, but nonetheless, that's not always how it's perceived. And so by formalizing it, by articulating it, by committing to it, we're putting strength behind these behaviors.
As of today, a total of 245 mayors have signed the declaration. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they will follow it, of course. Nor does it mean that the politicians who most need to sign it will sign it. But it is an excellent start and one way to begin to lower political violence by modeling what strength and decency in politics actually looks like.
It tells you it's okay to be yourself. And I mean it in this way. At my core, I try to be a decent person. And at my core, I try to get along with folks. I don't know if I would even say it's kept me from doing things as much as it said, you know what? It's all right not to scream at the top of your lungs about every issue, even if it's a national political issue with which I have strong disagreement. I think it's telling me it's all right to go with what my mama taught me, which is respect. I grew up in Missouri and Kansas. This is my part of the country. You respect people, as David notes.
This is something it's easy to forget. Most elected officials, not all, but most, really do want to see themselves as good and moral people. And they definitely want their families to be safe from violence. But they feel powerless to stop it, which is a mistake.
I get people saying, we should get members of Congress to sign this. We should get governors to sign this, and love it. I love that that's a thought and that's a logical next step. Who knows where it all leads, but you got to start somewhere in terms of reestablishing what I consider to be these basic democratic norms.
We'll include a link so you can see if your mayor has signed the Oklahoma City Declaration yet. If they haven't, it's probably because they're busy and because their constituents have not asked them to sign it.
So it would be quite refreshing, probably. I think it would rise to the top of the inbox if you were to email a mayor and say, you know what? I want you to stand for civility and decency and the functionality of American government. And I noticed you haven't signed this document. Here's the link to it.
Holt says elected leaders get a lot of requests and demands, but they almost never get asked to be decent, civil human beings. So let's change that. Check the link in the caption to see if your mayor has signed. And if they haven't, maybe send it to them. It might be a welcome surprise. And of course, let us know what happens next. Thanks.